Hello, thank you for joining me. This is What I've Been Thinking with Marcus Cage, and I'm your humble host, Marcus Cage. In this little video that I wanted to drop real quick, I wanted to go over all the things that happened with the debate that happened on the other night. I'm not going to go super in depth because I feel that it's too short. There's too short notice for one. For two, they're actually voting right now, so we should have some results. So this will probably be for only those of you who are really, really up on everything that I put out. So let's jump right into it real quick. Because though a lot of the attention was focused on Bloomberg and the attacks on Bloomberg, specifically from Elizabeth Warren, there are a couple of things that I wanted to point out in the debate, which I don't feel many other people who I've heard in the media or independent media or print media have focused on, or just little takes that I just wanted to throw in there. So I'll try to sum that up for you guys real quick in a couple of thoughts. Keep this video as short as I possibly can. Hope you enjoy. And I'll start off with Joe Biden. I feel Joe Biden made some very strong attacks before he just started fading away. I mean, most of his attacks came basically almost like basketball alley-oops. It was one person, toss it up, and they were already doing it, and it was an easy slam dunk. That said, I mean, I'll get back to Biden and some of the other people on the other side of this, because at the end of this, when I go into Bloomberg, I'll go into the way I felt Bloomberg should have fought back against them. Don't get me wrong. I do not like Bloomberg. I feel Bloomberg is virtually the same as Trump. He's just not as, I guess, outwardly brash, but he still says the same comments. He just says them in a dry, snarkier way. On to Pete. I felt that Pete actually came out kind of somewhere in the middle, because I felt he took on attacks from Bernie, which Bernie's attacks I felt landed. I feel the attacks which I mean, I won't say the attacks from Klobachar landed on him. I feel his attacks on Klobachar, though they landed, I feel some people are not going to see them for the legitimacy that they are, because of some of the things he's done before has led you to believe that he just attacks people in unjust ways, and he comes across as a little bit pompous. So it's easy to come across that he might be a little snobby or snooty in some of the ways that he's approaching. But I feel like him calling her out for not knowing AMLO's name is very, very valid. And I felt that something which you guys should have noticed, which I don't know if many people caught that, when Elizabeth Warren tried to jump over there and defend Klobachar. I'll go into that with Warren later on, but back to Pete. He's continuously lying on healthcare. I don't know what he thinks that's going to do. I don't know how he thinks attacking people like me, Bernie supporters, is going to make us want to come over and support him, even if he was a nominee. So I don't get this whole attacking voters, which majority of the stage decided we're going to attack millions of voters because Bernie is supposedly supposed to be a king and have a magic wand and supposed to be able to control all of us. I'll tell you this first and foremost, especially this to Elizabeth Warren, who says that, yes, that the candidates should have, I guess, control over their people. Nobody controls me. Nobody controls me. I support Bernie Sanders, but there's nothing Bernie Sanders could do to stop me from doing something good, bad, whatever. None of us have control over who supports us. The only thing we have control over is that we don't say things that are negative or derogatory, which lead people to feel that we condone the behavior. Now, there's nothing that Bernie Sanders has done to show that he condones any behavior, so the attack is false. So any of you guys hearing this Bernie bro narrative, just put it out of your head. It's nonsense. It's a false flag attack that they're going with. Okay, on to Amy. Amy landed a couple of attacks against Bloomberg also, but think about it. It's Bloomberg. It's really not hard to attack this guy. This guy has such a horrendous record. But I feel Pete's attack on Amy, or I won't even say it was Pete's attack, it was the moderator's attack, and he was responding. Those who say, well, we all forget some names here and there, and then she tried to do this. Well, I can name the 122 names of random people in Israel. Who cares? The thing is, you're not on the board of Israel. Amy Klobuchar is actually on the border committee. She's part of the border committee. These are the people she's supposed to work with. This is supposed to be her wheelhouse, and she does not know this. It's not even she forgot his name. She didn't know anything about his policy. If you watch the interview, she does not know who this man is. And for Warren to try to defend her, it's nonsense, because Warren knows. Anybody who heard that interview, she has no clue who the man is. And I feel that that's going to catch up to her, and I'll go into how I feel this debate will impact each of the candidates, because at this point, I feel that the things which are being said on the stage, since more eyes are on them and actual votes are being cast, I feel that these are going to be, these will actually make or break some of these candidates. On to Bernie. Bernie, I felt, had a normal, solid night. He got in on the fun with the attack in Bloomberg. Also, he landed some solid attacks. He also landed some good attacks on Pete Buttigieg. Also, I felt that he fended off a lot of the attacks that mostly came from the moderators. I felt the moderators were Bernie's biggest adversary, especially Chuck Todd. I mean, you might as well have just had Hillary Clinton up there interviewing him, because I didn't see not a single one of his questions being fair. Also feel it's time for Bernie to start attacking Warren. I mean, it's just time. We have seen this woman have a career of dishonesty before she got into office. In 2015, progressives like me and many others fought to try to get Elizabeth Warren to run, but she didn't want to run against the Clinton machine. Okay, that's fine and dandy. But if you're supposed to be the number 2 progressive, supposed to be ideologically aligned with Bernie Sanders, well, you not stepping up for him at one of the most pivotal times makes people like me doubt you and start to question. And for those of you who don't know what I mean by most pivotal time, at the point when she decided she wasn't going to endorse him, Massachusetts primaries had still not happened yet. So if she would have given her endorsement towards him, it kind of would have given people the permission to say, oh, okay, I guess we can vote for Bernie. I guess it's okay. By her not doing that, I felt many politicians who might have come across the line, which would have helped voters kind of pay more attention to Bernie, could have swayed the race. Now, it's not certain that it would have went a different way. Also, I really don't give the concrete feeling that it wasn't a lot of rigging and improper counting and rounding errors and bad coin flips, all those things that were going on throughout the whole race. So by that time that she was going to step in, it could have been pivotal to turn the tide back. But she chose to not do it because she had a backroom deal already with Hillary Clinton. That's fine and dandy, but if Bernie is supposed to be your friend, why would you hide that from him? You should say, hey, I have something going on, you know that. Also, the same thing, the first time she decides to hit him when about a comment that supposedly happened almost 2 years ago. I don't have a single friend that I need to wait 2 years to explain to them that something that they said bothered me. For anybody who takes that as legitimate, that, yeah, she all of a sudden now it was offended and thought he said something and it needed to be addressed. For me, that was the first thing. What Warren typically does is she tries to find a way to make herself be the victim first, so then she could come back and fight. She complained about, well, Bernie sending out stuff about my campaign. Whether he didn't or not, that's what happened. Next thing, she was out attacking him with the sexism comments. You look a little bit further. As she started struggling with money, she started attacking him more. She started hitting on this whole, I almost feel like it's sexism. I don't even want to say it's feminism. It's almost sexism. It's saying that it has to be a woman, and it's almost demonizing men by default. That's how it comes across. It's almost like, well, you didn't support Hillary just because you're a man, and it's not that simple. None of these things are that simple. If it was that simple, then why did people go against Sarah Palin? If it's that simple, why is Lisa Murkowski in trouble right now? Why are not, well, Murkowski too, but I can't remember. Susan Collins. Why is Susan Collins having so much hot water right now? It's not just about a male or a female thing. And if you're the type of voter who just feels that it is just about that, it tells me that more than likely, economically, you're not having very many problems. It tells me that you can vote on tokenism. As somebody who, in a sense, did vote on tokenism before voting for Obama, because Obama talked a good game. He did basically what Buttigieg is doing right now. He's talking a game, but he's not giving you any concretes of how he's going to get there. And then he's going to build up this grassroots movement to get in the office and say, okay, I got it from here. I still remember Occupy Wall Street when we were out there in the streets. Well, I was in Jacksonville at the time, protesting, but there was other people around the country who were protesting and trying to build this movement. And to have your president, who should be leading to help the 99%, basically tells everybody, go sit down, I got this, don't worry about anything. And then you hear 95% of the gains go to the top 1%. Sorry, got off track, got a little upset. Obama frustrates me. And for people who are ready to we just need to throw a woman in because women are great and women are better and that's all that matters. Black people, we did that with Obama. And things went the opposite direction under Obama for us. So I mean, yes, he got on and he sang some Al Green and he's really nice and his family is eloquent but as far as what he did, as far as materially helping the lives of actual, middle class and lower income people and the working poor like myself, Obama was an abysmal failure. And I feel any of those people who are trying to walk in that elk are doing the same thing. And that's why I feel like, like I was saying all the way back to Warren before I got over to Pete and all those other things, that's why I feel Bernie needs to start attacking this woman. She is not legitimate. She is not doing it for the right reasons. He has a grassroots movement. He has millions of people. You are going bankrupt. And on to the next tack about Warren. When Warren gets on stage and says, well, everybody out here, they're taking super PACs, so I have to take a super PAC. For one, what kind of leader is that? I mean, you remember the old Al Pacino movie, Serpico? Can you imagine if Serpico was like, well, I guess everybody's crooked here, so I guess I need to be crooked too. That's Elizabeth Warren's logic here. And I mean, and that's and this theme will continue and carry on. I mean, after the debate, she continued with more and more and more attacks. She's just been ramping up the attacks more and more. I feel like any people who feel like, well, Warren is rising, well, it's because she's getting moderate, or those ultra feminist people who just want a woman. They don't care. She can be Margaret Thatcher, horrible, but they don't care. Just as long as it's a woman, just so they can say, I saw a woman, whatever. Who cares the millions of people who that woman makes life miserable for? Who cares the lives that might be lost or whatever? To these people, this isn't serious. Voting for president is like American Idol to them. They don't care. It's a popularity contest. These mostly, sorry, I get frustrated. My apologies. On to Bloomberg, because I said I was going to try to keep this quick, and I'm already starting to get a little long-winded. Bloomberg, what I feel he should have done to push back and to fight back against all these people. I will start with the first person when I started talking about, Joe Biden. For one, I would have hit him on, you cannot dare come at me for stop and frisk when you got the crime bill sitting there. You have fundamentally transformed the lives of a whole nation of minorities, mostly Black and Latinos. You did that. I have my issues in my city, but my stop and frisk falls under the umbrella of your crime bill. So you can't jab me and think that you're in the clear. Bloomberg should have been hitting Joe Biden back on the crime bill. That's one thing I feel. When Mayor Pete came at him, it was like, this is exactly, if I was Bloomberg, how I would have attacked him. I would have said, Mayor Pete, you have 46 billionaires, people like me, funding your campaign. You know why? The reason why you have people like me funding your campaign is because we know we can buy you and we can control you. I just feel like I can do it better than having to pay you to do it. So that's why I'm running. You're just our errand boy and nobody needs you. I feel like if you're going to be snobby and disrespectful and be a billionaire, that's the time to use it on the billionaire flunky. On to Amy. What I would hit Amy on is, it's like, you have showed repeatedly that you don't know certain things that you should know on a national level. I was the mayor of the largest, probably one of the most major metropolitans in the world. I've dealt with things you could not comprehend from your state of Minnesota, which is a predominantly white state. There's so many things that are going on that far more qualifies me than you, Amy, even with my mistakes. Let's see. He gave you his attacks he would come at for Bernie, which I feel are going to fall flat anyway. I feel like a billionaire kind of is out of weakness fighting against somebody who's fighting for the people, especially in the party, which is supposed to be for the people, even though I feel most of our leaders are complete and total sellouts. How I feel he should have attacked Warren. If he would have gotten some of these digs earlier in the night, I felt he could have saved a lot of damage. One of the things which he should have started hitting Warren on her authenticity. He should have said, you guys are saying you guys want a moderate, and I'm a moderate, even though he's not a moderate, he's a conservative. Actually, he's a moderate Republican. That's what he is. But what he should have said is, you've had Warren lie about this. He's one of the only people that could have brought up the Pocahontas thing and probably could have got away with it. And yes, I know I said Pocahontas thing, so you guys will know what I'm referring to. I don't mean that in a slurish way like Donald Trump uses it. But I felt he could have hit her on that. He could have hit her on, so that job that you said that you were released from for being pregnant. that sounds kind of strange because I've owned businesses, and that's not something that most employers typically would have done, even in that time period. That sounds dodgy, Elizabeth Warren. I felt he could have at least had some pushback there, at least before the whole NDA comments. Because once she hit him with the NDA, that was a KO punch in my opinion. I mean, it was fun watching them all team up together. It was like a evil super friends, all jump in and tag in, and you got this one villain who killed this person on the other episode, and now they're all teaming together. It worked out. I don't like Bloomberg, so that's a good thing. But one of the biggest things that I felt should be talked about, which I only basically feel that the independent media is looking at it with the proper lenses. I feel a lot of the mainstream media kind of mention it or not, or if you look for the actual debate on that was on NBC or MSNBC, whichever, it was all they were all affiliated together. If you look at that debate now, they actually took this question out of the cast. So if you watch it now, you won't see this. The question which Chuck Todd asked is, if a candidate had a plurality of delegates, should they be the nominee? Basically meaning if they have the most votes and nobody else is really close, should they get it? Bernie Sanders, as we know, said yes. He stayed consistent with this. He felt Hillary Clinton won. I mean, he believes in whoever gets the most votes wins. But we watched every single Democrat basically say no. When they're saying no, what they're saying is, even if this person has, say, 50% of the vote, and the next person behind them has 30% of the vote, and say the threshold was 52%, they're saying that, no, well, you didn't hit the line, so we should just be able to give it to anybody. And what I mean by give it to anybody is those same party establishment elites who literally picked out these candidates to run, because that's something a lot of people don't realize. These candidates are approached by various elected officials, whether it's Chuck Schumer, whether it's Nancy Pelosi, whether it's Obama or Clinton, or Hillary or Bill, whether it's Jimmy Carter, whether it's whoever. A lot of these politicians who run, especially when they're still in their first or second terms, like Warren, who's, I think she's second term now, but a lot of these politicians who run at that level, it's because they've been pushed to run. Somebody is suggested that they run. These people are deciding that, you know what, I feel that person who thinks I should run, who's a politician, who's in Washington, who may or may not care about your interests and wishes, wants to decide. So we feel that that's better. They should just say, you know what? Let's discount millions and let's get this into, I guess. Let me crystallize this a little bit better. When oftentimes we say that you're attacking Bernie supporters or you're attacking voters, and we say millions, let's start saying tens of millions, hundreds of millions, because that's how many people you're deciding to just say you're not important. Now, if we really say that we believe in democracy and that we're really truly a democracy, then every single one of us has to be screaming at the top of our lungs if we see this kind of nonsense come down the pike. With that said, I'll leave it on that note. The Nevada caucuses are going on today. I've heard a lot of shady stuff, so fingers crossed. Hopefully it comes out all right. I've heard that Bernie is doing amazing in early voting. Last time around, they only had, I think it was something like, 80,000 votes total, and they already hit like 79,000 votes in the early voting. But problem is, I've already heard that there have been tens of thousands that they've denied because they said improper signatures. So if you do know anybody out in that area who is going to be caucusing or is out there, or who mailed in who were certain that their stuff was fine but not sure, make sure to go ahead and give them a check so they can get out to the caucuses today. Who knows, maybe that 1 or 2 or 3 votes might make the difference. With that said, I guess I will wrap it up. Hope you guys have a great one. Please remember to like, subscribe, tap the bell, and share if you like to. I don't push it on everybody to share, but I just want you guys to make sure to give me a like. And if you do enjoy this content, please subscribe and hit the bell. Thank you, and guys, have a great weekend.